and welcome to this Friday's edition of Coffee with a Career Coach. I am lucky to be joined by Lucas Sherman and Dr. Nikita Murray. So we're going to start off by doing some introductions. My name is Kendall Purdue, and I'm Assistant Director at the Career Development Center. And today I'm drinking an iced vanilla latte from Big B, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I should be funny and say I'm Lucas Sherman, but I'm Nikita Murray, and this morning I am drinking like my own concoction of decaf coffee from Panera because I joined the coffee club. So
Oh, okay. Those rewards are worth it.
I'm Lucas. I have a good cup of water here because I don't drink coffee.
All right, well, thank you both for being with us today. So we're going to start off by having Lucas tell us a little bit more about himself and just give us a better idea about who he is in his internship.
So I'm about to go into my senior year here with a major in psychology, with concentration on mental health, minors in women and gender studies, family studies, and English. And I'm the summer intern here for the Office for Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, as well as a research assistant for a faculty member and the administrative support intern for Great Lakes Bay Pride.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit more about how that ties into your future career plans?
So I am hoping to be a therapist
Oh,
with
that's
a
really cool.
concentration on the LGBTQ community as my hyper focus, but with just a larger focus in general on marginalized communities and some of the difficulties that they may face. So working here for the office kind of helps me get to see some different lenses and prepare in the work that I'm doing.
Sounds like you, gotten a lot of amazing experience working towards that. And then, Dr. Murray, would you go ahead and tell us more about your office and the hiring process for Lucas?
sure. So the Office for Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion covers issues related to belonging and safe spaces and equity for the entire campus community. So we are not solely focused on students, but students, faculty, staff, retirees, the Great Lakes Bay region, Isabella County, because we understand that as safe as the community is, then that's how safe our students will be, or everyone who engages with CMU will be. And so that's our focus. And because we are broad in how we think about safe spaces, we also are broad in how we talk about inclusion. And it's not just limited to race or gender or what we refer to as sexual orientation, but the broadness of who needs to feel as though they belong um, in a safe way. And so that's the work we do. And so with Lucas being on board as one of our student workers, when it came time for him to think about his internship experiences and what potential opportunities might be out there, he reached out to us. So he took the initiative and reached out to us, and we talked through what that experience could be and what it should look like. I'm a counselor by trade, and so he and I just connect around the mental health piece. But then also, some of my research as a counselor educator has been around um, a lot of those issues related to marginalization. And so it was a natural fit for us. And then because I automatically incorporate those into the work we do for diversity education, it was a good fit.
Mhm.
So the first step for the process was Lucas had to reach out, and that's really important because we didn't go out looking for interns.
Yeah, taking that initiative is
Absolutely.
incredible. That's how I found my own graduate internship at the Michigan Department of Education. I
Mhm.
sent out an email and phone call and was persistent enough, and it all worked out. So that's awesome. Lucas, can you tell us more about your perspective in finding an internship?
So I wanted to try and maximize my summer experience. The past couple summers, I've worked in like food service, so at restaurants and coffee shops, which have been great experiences. But I was really hoping to kind of work on my like professional goals and just try and work more focused on developing my career and professional goals and what I've been doing. So I was looking into various aspects here on campus. And so I already was working for this office during the spring semester. I'd gotten hired. So I reached out to them hoping that they would take me on. I also reached out to a couple pride centers in the area, trying to see if they would take me on, a faculty member to see if he had any research going on, as well as a couple national organizations, just to try and see like who out there would be willing to take me on to try and help me get closer to some goals.
Now, when you were interviewing, was it virtual or in person, or was it a mix?
So it was a mix. Some of my interviews were virtual, some of them were in person. It mostly depended on either the location, because one of them was in North Carolina, and so we were not meeting in person for that one. For the ones like up here on campus in this area, it was really dependent on everyone's level of comfort and safety with the pandemic. So it was a mixed bag.
Yeah. And then can you give an estimate for about the amount of contacts you made, amount of applications you sent out, about how many organizations and supervisors you heard from?
I think I reached out to about 7, and I got lucky and 5 reached out.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I had to turn down a couple as well, just with time. So I got really lucky that people were so willing to respond to all queries.
I think a lot of it is how Dr. Murray mentioned that you took that step to really have that motivation on your own and go and seek them out, which is a huge part of it. So speaking of qualities that are like amazing in the internship process, Dr. Murray, can you tell us about the qualities that you look for in an intern?
I'm glad you asked that because I want to emphasize that just because Lucas worked with us as a student worker, it didn't automatically mean that he would be an intern. We had to talk through, and we wanted to talk through what his learning goals were, what he hoped to achieve by working as an intern, and how it would benefit our office. And so, with the interns we've had in this area, we're focused on helping students continue their education in a practical way. So, yes, we do focus on the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging piece or social justice piece, but then we also want to make sure that what they're engaged with as our intern matches with who they want to be when they graduate from CMU. So, what can you put on your resume that you did for us that will help you get your next job or your next big internship opportunity? And if you're not able to talk about that or you haven't thought through that, then you're probably not a good internship candidate for us. Like we can coach you on some of that, but you should have an idea of where you want to go next and want to be in that next step.
So really having purpose when seeking an internship and really just being intentional with the organizations that you are seeking out and
Right.
trying to make sure that you are aligning with what their values are, what they're providing in their internship.
And I would say values are important and mission is important, but also what skills do you want to cultivate? So how can you take what you've learned in your classes and apply it in a work setting in a meaningful way? We don't expect our interns to know it all or to even know everything about what their purpose is and what their life purpose is or their career purpose. That comes with growth and experience, and we recognize that. But you should have some idea of how you want to develop as an individual.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Murray. Can you give us an idea, Lucas, of your day-to-day internship?
So I'll get here at 9, right early in the morning. And so I'll get here, I'll log in, clock in, I'll check in with everyone, and then usually I'll have a project that I can just get right into and start going on. And so I'll start with that and just kind of it's really self-driven, most of the work that I've been doing. So I'll get my work done in whatever my time process is. I'll usually have a couple meetings to check in with Dr. Murray or anyone else in the office to see what else they might need help with. I'll take a lunch sometime through the day, just try and make sure that I'm eating, staying healthy on that way. And then it's just right back to work, making sure that I get everything needed done, and really staying focused to try and make sure that I get the most out of this experience and that the office gets the best work that I can give them.
Dr. Murray mentioned that ability to take what you're learning in the classroom and apply it in your position. How do you feel like your major and what you've been learning has helped you in this internship?
So, with some of the events that I've been doing, we've had a focus on the community and with our community impact and outreach. And so, really, with some of the classes that I've been taking, they've had a focus on the interpersonal connections and communications that we have. So, I've been really working with those to try and strengthen our connections as an office and as an individual with some of the people that we've been partnering with and just some of the different organizations that we've been reaching out to as well.
That's awesome. So, can you tell me a little bit about how this internship is preparing you for your future career?
So I've gotten in part of the work I've done like some office managing and some duties like that. And so that's kind of prepared. I hope to own my own practice someday. So getting used to some of the office side of things, some of the others, like some of those that you wouldn't normally get to see or think about. But then just with my work in connecting with the community and determining how to just best figure out where needs help and who we can start serving in a better sense. That has been a really beneficial aspect of this for me. Thinking as a therapist, who will want to connect with the community and with the different people in the community and the ways that you can go about that.
That was amazing to hear about. Do you want to touch on that at all, Dr. Murray?
Actually, I want to jump in and say something because Lucas is he's structured, and that's an important skill because if you're unstructured in your personality and how you do things, if you are unable to prioritize things, then you're not necessarily going to be the type of person that a supervisor can just say, here are 10 things I need from you and go do it, right? So the fact that he is that way makes him trustworthy. So I would say to anybody who's listening, as you're thinking about building those skills that will make you more marketable, um, in the workforce, whether you're starting out as a student worker, intern, or looking for something else, it's to really take those opportunities to use your strengths and apply them to new experiences. And that's something that Lucas has done really well. So I wouldn't want to leave people with the impression that it's kind of willy-nilly and he just does whatever. That's clearly not the case, and that's not who Lucas is. Most importantly, we're able to trust him with assignments because he has demonstrated his commitment to asking questions, getting clarity, knowing the assignment, setting deadlines, meeting his deadlines, and then going into the next thing. And that's an important part because sometimes people think, oh, when I get an internship, I'll just be filing or doing something clerical. And that's not the case for us. So we engage our students, whether they're student workers or in this case an intern who's going into his senior year. So we engage him in a way in which he's able to put down concrete achievements and work projects on his resume that he'll be able to talk thoroughly about in interviews and anything else going forward, whether it's grad school or something else.
I feel like that transitions into our last question extremely well. So, to end our Facebook Live, we would like you both to each give one piece of advice to students that are looking for internships.
I mean, my advice is just apply wherever you can and as many places. Like, just send an email, and the worst you can get is a no or a no response. Like, they're not, if you email them, they're not going to send you a hate mail. Like, you can just ask and just hope for the best.
I would say think broadly and consider that nothing gets wasted. No experience gets wasted. So it's not like it's a useless experience. Everything matters. Every opportunity matters.
Thank you both so much for joining us today. And it was great to learn more about the internship process for Lucas, but also that supervisor insight as well. So thank you all for tuning in and have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you. You as well.
Too.
Okay.